Vicky Ford, Conservative MEP for the East of England, an end to the negotiations that you've been working on for really quite some time now. First of all, the basics. For people back in the constituency, what is Horizon 2020?
Okay, Horizon 2020 is the EU funding for international work in science and research, okay? And it's one of the few areas where the UK gets back what we put into the EU budget, and this project is worth about £60 billion over the next 7 years. So it's a huge amount of money for science and research.
That's for the whole of Europe, of course, to places like Cambridge. For the East of England, for the UK, how much money is this worth? What kind of projects is it going into?
Well, this is very important for the East of England. In the last 7-year programme, it was about 500 million euros, so about over 400 million pounds came back into the East of England from this. Cambridge University, they estimate that about 20% of the research that's happening in Cambridge today is funded through EU programmes. So it's really important. I've seen local projects like breast cancer research project, crop research, small companies, big companies, all involved in real projects that looking at the challenges that we face in the years ahead. Things like energy security, food security, ageing demographies, all of these sort of projects all across East Anglia where we've got scientists, researchers, companies involved.
And you mentioned that there has been money in the past. This is going to see money going forward. So what's changing for the next 7 years?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we got was that money continues to go to the best scientists, the best bits. It's not some sort of political priorities spread around Europe. You know, if you're going to have money, say, for Parkinson's research, I wanted to go to the best researchers in Europe for that. I also wanted to make sure it was simplified because there's been huge red tape and bureaucracy. So we put in place a sort of code of conduct through talking to businesses, talking to university. I've been working on this for 3 years, and we've shortened time to grant, time to get paid, introduced better complaints procedure, and a lot better communication between the Commission and other participants. So I really hope this is going to make a difference. There's also going to be a dedicated bit of this 60 billion just for smaller companies. So I hope that will simplify smaller companies, bright innovators wanting to get money out of Europe to really drive science for the future.
From what companies and the universities are telling you in the East of England, those changes that you've managed to push through, what difference should it make to them?
Well, as I said, I really hope that it will simplify the process. The Commission's promised that this is the big drive that they wanted to do, and we hope it will be much easier for SMEs. We're targeting up to 20% of this £60 billion to go to smaller companies. So it's not just smaller companies, though, it'll be universities and researchers as well, but I hope that we will see money getting out there faster, getting into the projects we need, and hopefully driving effectively the innovators who make growth, who make us more competitive, who make jobs. And that's why the East of England has got such great pockets of success, and I want to see more of that happening across all of East Anglia.
Just finally, the last stages, you've reached an agreement between the different elements of the EU on this. There's still two things to sort out. Firstly, presumably a final sign-off vote in the European Parliament, and secondly, the overall budget for the whole of the European Union for the next few years. Until that's in place, this isn't going to happen.
Absolutely. Now, I think you should only fund internationally areas where international collaboration really adds value. There's far too much posturing in this EU budget by the Parliament who constantly want more money, more power. They need to get behind the national governments. They need to get behind David Cameron's cuts to the EU budget, and they need to sign this off and get the certainty to these sort of bright international collaborative projects that actually we can make a difference when we get money to where it's really needed. So I'm hoping my colleagues from other groups, from other countries, will stop posturing and trying to take political stances and actually focus on getting money where it's needed.
Because until they do, presumably there's uncertainty, there is uncertainty for places like Cambridge University about money going forward, money for the future.
Absolutely. You know, part of this money, for example, is for very bright students who want to go and do PhDs in different countries. Now, that's fantastic. I've met many of those young people. we need to have certainty now because those programs are going to start from next year. So I'm really hoping we can get this pushed ahead and get some of these good programs going and that we can make a difference.